Hail and welcome. My name is Dragon Lily, and I'm bringing you today a new broadcast called The Ascended Family. Ascended Family is about gaining practical wisdom and sharing experiences about raising a family in this new age of celestial enlightenment that we find ourselves in. If you found this page, that means you too are a seeker of light and you're looking to expand your knowledge on cosmic understanding and ascension and the coming to enlightenment that is all in line with the celestial positioning that we're in with the 2012 rolling into 2014. We've just completed our 2013 rolling into 2014 rather, just completing our first year in this new age of enlightenment, this Aquarian age, this divine feminine energy which is taking over and really touching all of us. So I want to share a little bit about myself as an introduction to this new channel. And thank you. Thank you for being here with me, and I hope that you all share some of your own experience and we really begin to build an ascended family together. I am a 25-year-old mother of three, practicing solitary Wiccan for about 14 years now. I started very young. I began with my mentor, who was my older sister, and she brought me into practicing Wicca originally. And then throughout my life and my experiences, I began to be a solitary practitioner, and I found myself, after the birth of my last child, a holy daughter, I discovered that I had transitioned from just an entry-level first-degree seeking individual to a true parent and mother and second-degree priestess. There was no ritual, there was no grand proceedings of a coven at a full moon somewhere in a cove of mysticism. No, it was a simple divine acknowledgement from the great creator energy that enlightened me and told me, here you are, this is what you're doing, this is what you've become, and here is your power. And from there I began to see life in a whole new spectrum of ways. And it just keeps getting more and more blessed. And that's a little bit of background on myself. I'm married to a wonderful husband, and I have, like I said, 3 beautiful children through whom magic is so apparent. So I'd like to talk about living as a family in raising your children and in living with your spouse, where every member of the family in the household is on a conscious journey to enlightenment. What I've discovered is my family, even though I'm a solitary practitioner, my family has become my coven in a sorts. All of us are transitioning beings. Even my 2-year-old infant, I believe she's more of a priestess than I am. She was born with the gift, but that's her benefit of being born in conjunction with the celestial happenings. She doesn't have to take as long as we adults do, and I think a lot of mothers and fathers will find that their children have incredible talents just naturally, and I really want this channel to be about nurturing those talents in your children and incorporating it into your family unit. So our family structure is a matriarchal family. I come from a long line of strong matriarchal figures on both sides of my family. My grandmother on my mother's side was never a practicing witch, but she was a practical witch. She birthed 10 children in 15 years in poverty and abuse, and yet still created each individual to have the most optimal experience in love. I recall being at her deathbed a few years ago, and that was the most loving and humbling experience I've ever witnessed. Each child of hers was there. Each child had a minimum of 3 children who were all there, and a lot of us had great grandchildren. And the family gathered around her for the very last time in her living, right at Thanksgiving, and we all wished her well and gave her an honored matriarchal passing, and it was lovely and touching, and one could hope for such a beautiful death. My mother, of course, followed in her mother's footsteps and is also a strong, strong woman. Though she's Christian, she embraces a lot of the new age, new consciousness thinking, and she is a lovely, wonderful woman. My father's side, though I never met these women, they are strong Indian Catholic witches. And there are several stories of them being just all out brujas in the best way, blessings and in curing children and in giving love and ritual to neighbors. And so for my background, being a strong matriarch is first nature. It comes very easy. My husband, bless him, is my consort and my support, and though sometimes it's hard to have a matriarch family, he does very well. And my daughter, I believe, is coming right along in that lineage. Like I mentioned, she's a very strong witch already at the age of 2. So that's a little bit of our family structure. And with that, we try to ensure that each member is engaging in active enlightenment. And what I mean by that is each of us, even the youngest, we meditate and we perform ritual together. And generally it's not structured, it just is impromptu and it's very natural. As a family, we've become a very natural coven where we just perform magic and ritual on a whim as the moment arises. And I think that's something that I would really love to share with a lot of other families, is how to move throughout your lifetime and your experience together with ritual and with connectiveness and with meditation. And it really brings a lot of understanding and a lot of unity in the most powerful unconditional love, which is where all of our magic stems from. So, I'll share a little bit of my past and recent experiences with you, just briefly, to sort of give you an idea of the type of workings that I myself and our family are able to do. I mentioned briefly the story of my becoming a priestess, because you have 3 levels of your life. They're childhood, adulthood, and elderhood. That's the unity. That's not on either sex. It's just the general. When I transitioned from my maidenhood to my motherhood, which is the feminine aspect of that trinity, it was a very, very profound moment for me. I remember I had performed a ritual in which I had sacrificed a little bit of my life force for something grander than myself. I can't really put my finger on it what that was at the moment, but I remember writing down the ritual, and it was called a kiss of death, because that was part of what the ritual entailed. But after that working, because it was such a profound experience and such a high level casting, divinity came to me. And in a moment, I had an understanding and awareness of what it is to leave childhood behind and to come into my adult motherhood, my parenthood aspect of my life. And it was beautiful, and I was shaking, and it was just an experience I hope that you all will one day get to share. Another example is just the other day, my daughter woke up, she woke up sick. She was vomiting, she had diarrhea, any fluids we put in here, as you parents know out there, come right back up. And that's never fun from a 2-year-old. So, of course, I called the doctor and got their advice, and they said just monitor it. It's going around, give her fluids in small amounts, and of course I did all that medical, physical nonsense. But in addition to, the third dimensional remedies, I took it upon myself to heal my daughter esoterically. I have an altar, which is a large coffee table that's got a blanket across the top, and a bamboo mat, and there's nothing else on that altar except for me. It's in the sun, it's in a window facing my cardinal direction, which is south, and it's a place for me to physically put my body in order for me to transcend into other worlds. So I sat in meditation pose with my daughter held close to me, and I sang. Singing is a wonderful way to raise energy and to create magic during ritual, as is dancing. Those are the two main ones that I use. Visualization is also another good one, but we'll get into those later. So I raised energy, and I brought the divine, and I went to cosmic. I went to the cosmos with my physical problem of my child being ill. And it was a wonderful experience. I felt the connection with the divine. My daughter laid there quietly in repose and started to fall asleep. She feels it as well. When you're connected to someone like that, you can physically feel when they're experiencing the same thing that you are. No questions asked. It just occurs. We're funny like that. It's the human experience. But after our time on the altar and our commune with divinity, she was obviously tired, so I laid down with her on the couch and held her close to me. And from there, I began to astral travel with my daughter on my chest. And what happened was, with her wrapped in my arms, I felt a change in vibrational state, as you do generally when you astral project. You feel the vibrational change. So I felt that. And then I felt my daughter and I meld back into one being. It was as though she was in utero again, but not in a physical sense. It was as though spiritually we had become one body. There was no distinction between my existence and hers. I actually felt her tiny heartbeat within my own heartbeat, and it was a very fantastic experience. And the only thing that I can equivalent it to, it felt as though my body, I consider the body a spaceship. It's a spaceship for your consciousness. And I felt as though my spaceship, my biometric spaceship, became a hyperbolic chamber for my child. And in that, we shared vibrational states, and we traveled together, and I concentrated on healing, which was secondary to my travels, because, well, I travel. Of course, I do my light work and all of those things, which I can explain in due time. But upon return, she, of course, woke up from the nap that she had been taking. I'm sure she thought she was just having a wonderful dream. But when she woke up, the vomiting ceased. Her appetite returned. I fed her some noodle soup with some vegetables in it. She ate the whole thing. I fixed her some green tea, and she drank the entire thing. She had a few cups of water, then she went on to want more food, more snacks, more drinks, and it was like she was never sick at all. Actually, my husband and I took her to the store, and we took her to some relatives' house later, and no one could even tell that she had been ill. So it's just things like that I would like to share, and it's really real, and it does happen, and it's the most wonderful way to live your life, and to create a reality. And I think it's the most important key to this human existence, is to create this loving, unconditional source energy with a family, with the people that you love and those who depend on you, and the lives that you create and choose. So, to close up with you, thank you so much for taking time out of your reality to visit with mine, and hopefully together we can create this expansion of consciousness, and keep this ball rolling, because there are so many positive and wonderful things to be had with this new cosmic happening. And I love to see all of you on YouTube, and in the internet unity consciousness, creating this wonderful world, and it's just going to be so exciting. So let's raise our families together in the most optimum frequencies that we can. Namaste to you all, and blessed be, and I really sincerely hope to see you soon. Please leave a comment, like, share, and let's keep the ascension happening. Namaste.